Welcome to the Irreplaceable Dental Assistant Podcast, brought to you by Dame, Dental Assisting Made Easy. This is a safe space to be mentored, empowered, energized, and equipped. Can you believe that we're in episode 3 of the Irreplaceable Dental Assistant? It's brought to you by Dame, Dental Assisting Made Easy. And today we're going to delve right in and talk about how to show up as your best self. Showing up as your best self. You can tell when somebody's been having a bad day. Their disposition moves from sunny and bright to bleak and dark. You know instinctively that this may not be a good time to ask for a favor or to introduce a challenge that you may be facing. We've all been there. While that's so, it's important to understand our triggers, because despite how we feel, it's not okay to be snappy at teammates or uncaring to our patients. There's some very practical things that can throw us off, like lack of sleep. Lack of sleep can make you irritable and impatient. It prevents you from thinking clearly or processing properly. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been in that space where you just know that you have to finish this thing before the deadline, so you're staying up to complete it, and you've read this thing 6 times, you're now on your 7th time, and oh, come on, why am I not understanding what this is saying? Finally, you think in defeat, you give up and you head to bed. You have a good night's sleep. And you wake up in the morning, this thing is on your mind. So the first thing you do is take up the book, and in 2 minutes you've read it, you've understood it, you've processed it, and you're ready to move on. And the question is, oh my goodness, is this the thing that I read through 7 times, spending 20 minutes on and could not process? Yep, it is. Because when your brain is tired, it's just not clicking. Getting adequate rest is important. You want to be efficient at work, right? What about hunger? Hunger is similar. If you're hungry, really hungry, in addition to getting a headache or feeling bloated or just having the pangs that you feel in your stomach when you're having hunger pains, you're irritable. You're impatient. You are just living for the moment where you can step away and go and have something to eat. Pain is a great distractor as well. That pain could be the pain from a headache, or it could be wearing tight shoes. It doesn't matter. Discomfort, pain is distracting. So let's envision a blank piece of paper with a horizontal line dividing it in half. Anything below the line is fine. We tolerate it well. Once we're above the line, then the trouble may begin to brew, because we're less tolerant above that line and we're far more tolerant below that line. So let's give some examples of this. Here's the thing. As humans, we can be quite complex. As we picture a simple diagram with tolerance below the line and intolerance above the line, let's use a scenario of you having a headache. Normally, you don't pay attention to the folks honking horns in traffic, but this morning, you woke up with a killer headache. All right, but you're making your way through. So now you're walking through the front door, and Cheryl's usual cheerful greeting for the morning has escalated your head. Now it is pounding. Oh my gosh, you can barely respond to her as you head to the aspirin bottle. The pain that you experiences changes the height of that tolerance line. It's now lowered. It takes far less for you to become impatient and intolerant, because you're in pain. Let's take another day. A day when you're coming in through the front door, you're well rested, you've had your morning coffee, you had a good breakfast. You might respond to Cheryl's greeting with an equally cheerful response, and perhaps that may spill over into some light banter and chatter about maybe her date last night or some upcoming event. Who knows? After that, even if you're informed that your first patient changed their mind and the setup that you prepared in advance is no longer going to work, and now you have to hurriedly put together a new setup, it's not going to affect you as badly as it would have if you started out having a bad day. So now this tolerance line is way up. You're far more tolerant, and it will take a lot more to make you impatient because you've had a good start to your day. Here are other factors that can affect your tolerance that have nothing to do with your level of physical comfort. Let's look at a few of these examples. Your past experiences very much affect what's happening to you in the moment and how you respond to it. Biases, some we know about, some we don't even realize that we have. These may be gender, culture, or racial biases. How about time? The lack of time may make us far less patient than if we had more time. How about whether you like or dislike someone? So let's talk about Raul. Raul is the love of your life. You've been married to him for a year and a half. He is just the model husband. In short, Raul can do no wrong. So Raul would probably, in your books, be allowed to get away with a lot more before you became impatient with him, because you are passionate about Raul. You are sold out. That's your soulmate. On the other hand, Raul's mother, she's a piece of cake. You just see her coming and you tense up because you know, here comes trouble. That tolerance level becomes extremely low for Raul's mom because you anticipate that she's going to ruffle your feathers. And so in response to that, you are already garnering up your combat gear to go to war. Temperature can also be a factor. If you're feeling too hot and you just need to get out of this environment, you're going to be less patient than if they had AC and you were comfortable. So there are several things that can change our level of tolerance in a day, depending on who we're interacting with, depending on how we're feeling. Our tolerance level can shift from moment to moment, just depending on what's going on. So we have to make a habit of doing a self-check a few times a day. You know, you don't have to be in isolation, but you certainly can tune into what's happening with your body. How am I feeling? Why does my chest feel tight? I hadn't thought about it, but yes, I'm feeling very tense. Why are you feeling tense? Because every time Rhonda uses that piece of equipment, she doesn't put it back. And so when I go to use it, I have to go searching down the whole place. It takes up too much time. So how can you adjust this? Well, have you spoken to Rhonda, or do you seethe in silence every time she does that? Perhaps saying, hey, Ron, you know what? Every time you don't put this thing back, I have to go searching for it. Do you mind just putting it back here, please? That might simply solve the problem. But being self-aware is one of the key tools that we can use to lead ourselves. And remember, we said in episode 1, the hardest person to lead is yourself. But you know what? It spills over. Because if you are in the habit of being self-aware, you'll also instinctively Be aware of what's happening with your patients or your teammate, and that may also guide your response to a less than ideal situation. You know, if a patient comes in and it's clear to you that they're anxious by their body language or the number of questions that they're asking, even if what they do normally would irk your nerves or send your blood pressure up, understanding that this is happening because of their level of anxiety, it makes you go into a mode of decoding what's happening, assessing it, and doing what is necessary to make sure that that patient, who at this moment has a very low tolerance level, is well served. Because you know what? You as a dental assistant helping to pull that level of tolerance up just by showing up and being caring, just by the patient getting the feeling that you are aware that they are uncomfortable, makes a big difference. And you might be surprised to know that at the beginning of the visit, the tolerance level of that patient may be way low, and you may even bring it up to above the normal level of tolerance. You know what I found? If you can walk through a difficult situation with someone, they will befriend you. They will always look out for you because you went through a tough thing with them and you made them feel that you were going to support them all the way to the end. Because not every time we can guarantee that things will be easy, but your support, regardless of their behavior, can make a big difference. I've had situations where, without me even saying, listen, you are difficult to deal with today, they come back the next time and they apologize. Look, when I think about how I was behaving, it really wasn't good. Thank you for supporting me despite me. And this is how you build respect. Patients begin to respect you as a professional because you don't get pulled into what they're going through because their response may not be what it should be. So here's a quote for you. Self-reflection is a humbling process. It's essential to find out why you think, say, and do certain things. Then better yourself. This quote comes from Sonia Teklai. I leave you with those words of wisdom today. As an irreplaceable dental assistant, it is important to show up as the best version of you every day because people are depending on you. Your dentist is depending on you, your teammates are depending on you, and most importantly, your patients are depending on you to have great patience with them. Listen, we're going to continue this conversation about the things that we can do to make a difference in our working environment. But I want to leave you with one thought I always leave with you. We're better together. See you next time.